Hi everyone, my name is Uncle Big B. I'm a software engineer at Ashdod and a technical educator. Today, I'm really excited to be talking to you about AI-powered productivity, which involves boosting productivity for software engineers using open source LLMs. So let's get into it. This is going to be our agenda for today. We are going to begin by understanding why developer productivity matters, and then take a look at what if coding wasn't the bottleneck anymore in our workflow, and then dive into AI adoption among developers. And we are also going to take a look at why open source LLMs, and then what you can actually do with these LLMs, and then we'll explore architectural overview of how things work locally in our LLMs development. And then we are going to take a look at some use cases of these LLMs as well. And then we are going to take a look at AI tools that you can use that are beyond ChatGPT. We're also going to take a look at setting up an open source AI dev tool locally, and we'll take a look at the performance and caution of using open source LLMs on your local machine, and we are going to end it with best practices for productive AI usage. So let's begin with the first one. Why developer productivity matters. Developer productivity isn't just about writing more code faster, but then it is about building high quality software with less friction, shipping features faster, and spending more time solving real world problems rather than getting stuck on repetitive tasks. And the first point on why developer productivity matters is faster shipping of high quality software, because as teams scale and product demands grow, engineers are expected to deliver more, collaborate better, and maintain quality all at once. And with this, developers are going to be able to spend less time on boilerplate and repetitive work. And with an effective productivity approach, developers are also going to be able to focus their energy on solving real world problems rather than spending a lot of times on boiler code and repetitive work. And with this point, this proves that AI is going to help amplify developers that leverage AI rather than replacing us. So when you leverage AI, it's going to amplify your skill and not immediately replace you. So with this, I'm going to leave you with this first quote, which says, AI is not a threat, it's a productivity amplifier. So AI is not coming for your job, but if you leverage on AI and position yourself rightly with AI, AI is going to amplify your productivity. I'm also going to leave you with this question. What if coding wasn't the bottleneck anymore? Let me ask you something. What slows you down the most in your workflow? Is it the boiler code or repetitive boring stuff? It is not always the hardest part of the code that slows us down, but basically the repetitive, the boilerplate, the setting up of state management by Redux or things along that line. What if we could move past that friction and focus more on the real business side of things that solve real problems? And that is where AI comes in, especially the open source LLMs, where they can do all this repetitive work for us in a very short time. And they are not here to replace us, like I said, they are here to remove that bottleneck from our workflow. So according to the charts put from the 2024 Stack Overflow Developer Survey, AI has been becoming deeply integrated into the way we build software today. And this survey shows that about a year ahead, most developers agree that AI tools will be more integrated into the key part of their workflow, which is coming into existence in 2025. More companies, more developers are leveraging more on AI for documenting, for testing, for generating UIs, for generating designs as well. Even designers are also using this to generate a lot of things there as well. These are not basically side tasks, but then AI is already building the backbone of a lot of engineering effort. This shows that in 2024, 2023, a lot of people are already adapting it, and 2025, a lot of more people are already making use of this. This shows that AI is not the future to come, but then it is the future that we are currently living in. Now, let's talk about AI adoptions among developers. And AI is no longer an experiment in like the previous years, but then it is already becoming the mainstream. It is already becoming the normal thing, just the way we use Git and GitHub. And now in AI adoption among developers, we have 76% of developers who are already using or planning to use AI tools in their development process in 2024. So you can see the numbers, the percentage of developers are already using it or planning to use it in 2024 compared to the numbers of the developers that are already using it in 2025. So the number is already increasing. So the question you should ask yourself is, what is holding you back to leverage most of these LLMs, either open source or not open source? And also, based on the survey as well, 62% were using AI tools in 2024, up from 44% in 2023. So now imagine the numbers that we have in 2025 when the survey is run again. So this shows an increasing numbers of adoptions among developers, and you should also get on the train. And then we also have on the same survey that 81% cite increased productivity as the top benefit of AI tools. So this also shows effectiveness amongst the developers. And like I said, these are not just small tasks, they are critical part of shaping quality softwares. So AI is already writing like back end, the full front end of applications. And developers are realizing that using AI isn't optional if you want to stay efficient. So in this age that we are now, our reality is that if you want to move fast, if you want to get things done faster, you have to leverage AI in some ways. Since you already know what you want to do, you can just leverage AI to achieve that faster. And AI is quietly becoming a default layer in the modern developer workflow, just like the way we have Git and we once have Stack Overflow in our mainstream of workflow. Now let's discuss about why open source LLMs. When it comes to using AI in developer workflows, open source LLMs are a game changer, and here is why. First, you get full control over the models. You are not limited by API quotas, rate limits, or vendor decision because they are basically running on your own local server, and then you can also self-host this. And open source LLM also provides us with flexibility to customize pipelines, which you can run locally. And it is also great for speed, cost, data privacy. You can also fine tune them for your specific use cases. And that's basically incredible, powerful in engineering teams, right? So that you can basically customize them to your own use case. And lastly, you can deploy this open source LLM anywhere with less or no API cost. You can also deploy them on your local hardware without having to pay for any cloud charges. Examples of these LLMs are Olama and LM Studio, among others, which you can basically download them on your system and then run them locally without having to pay any extra charges. So let's talk about what you can actually do with open source LLMs as a developer. These models are not just for chatbot. We've gone beyond being impressed with chatting with LLMs. They can also help us across multiple parts of your workflow. They can help with code generation. You can use them for refactoring functions, writing unit tests, and validating of logic, which is what is our reality now. AI can do most of these things. They can talk to database. They can leverage integrations with Supabase using MCP. They can leverage with any other application using their API or MCP. Then this makes things a lot faster. And also, AI is already helping with debugging, like we see in the use case of Chrome Console AI, which helps you to debug network issues, which help you to debug errors in your console, and you don't have to switch between your development browser and LLM. So it's already integrated into your console, and this is very helpful. So another one is that you can leverage LLMs to basically learn about an open source project. You can learn about the GitHub repository. You can learn about the structure, the way things are being done on the repository, just like for onboarding. So LLMs make things very easier for you when it comes to like code-based question and answer as well. So another great thing that these LLMs are great at is for documenting your code. You can leverage the local LLMs. You can fine-tune them for your own use case and then use them to document your code. And because you are using them locally or via open infrastructure, you can build your own dev agent or even plug them into your IDE like VS Code or Neovem or Tray Editor. And it's not just about answering questions, it's about automating workflow as well. So you can plug these LLMs into your workflow directly through documentation, support for your developers and for your consumers as well. So now let's break down how local LLMs actually fit into your development workflow. So we'll take a look at the architectural overview of LLMs in local development. Now, imagine you are coding in VS Code, and instead of relying on a cloud service like OpenAI's API, which has rate limit, you can basically run your own LLM locally. And this is all thanks to Olaman, LM Studio, or VLLM, which you can exploit. What you just need to do is to basically pair them with extensions like continue.dev, which is great by the way, which you can basically use to integrate these LLMs directly into your IDE, giving you the Copilot-like suggestions but powered by your local model. So these tools allows you to basically fine-tune things into your own use case, into your own preference, so that they can do what you want directly, and that is what they will focus on. And this also gives you control over the prompts. You can control the prompts, the models, and the context that are available to these LLMs only for your own use case and your own data, your own code base. So the LLM is going to basically run on your machine. It's going to respect your memory and keeps your code base private as well, based on how you want it, since it's already running on your local infrastructure or your own cloud infrastructure as well. And these architecture are usually very fast, right? So they are very fast, they are cost effective, and gives you the flexibility to build intelligent features without leaving your local dev environment. And then let me introduce you to a few tools that brings open source LLMs right into your workflow. And the first one here is the Olaman for local model serving. So you can exploit this. You can visit their website. It is a very great tool to run LLMs locally for your local development. And another one that you can pair with the Olaman is the continue.dev, which is a VS Code Copilot alternative that allows you to run an AI native directly from your VS Code. And the next one is a VLLM for optimized serving and scaling of LLMs. So if you want to run and optimize LLMs locally, you can also exploit these tools as we've discussed in the previous slide. Now that we've have an idea of the LLMs and the tools that we can exploit, and now we can exploit them and what we can achieve from using them. Now let's take a look at the use cases of AI boosted developer tasks. Yeah, these are the things you are probably doing every day, not totally different, but then this is going to help you to see how you can leverage AI or integrate AI into most of these use cases. So the first one is code generation, and you can make use of continue.dev for this, and AI can help you in writing repetitive code. Think of CRUD endpoints or UI components. They can do it for you effectively. And writing of UI test is also something they are very good at. Writing prompt templates, and then they can help you to write this unit test in a particular language that you want. And they are also very good in generating summaries and commits, which are going to be auto-generated and much more organized. And you can also learn from these as an engineer as well. And they also help you to generate architectural diagrams for other developers. If it is an open source project, it can help you to generate the architecture for your README, for the documentation. And all of these things are basically not theorems, they are our real live use cases and that our teams are already using. So all of these use cases are already being used in real life projects, and then you can basically, build these workflows using tools that we've already mentioned, from continue.dev to LangChain with local hosted models. Like we've been saying, AI is already becoming our sidekick and it's part of our stack of today. So now let's talk about open source AI tools that you can basically use. If you are excited about integrating AI into your workflow, the good news is you don't need expensive subscription or closed API. There's a growing ecosystem of open source tools built for developers like you, like me, and they are designed to run locally. It can be customized, and you can keep the control of how things works. So here are some of the best open source AI tools that you can start using today. And you can basically just mix them together like we've been saying. So the first one is the continue.dev, which you can basically pair with your editor, such as VS Code, Tree Editor, and any other editor that supports LLMs. And another one that is more popular is the Cursor, and it is a VS Code fork built specifically around AI. So you can also leverage this one as well. And you can also leverage the Tabi ML, which is basically a lightweight open source autocomplete for developer too. And you can also take a look at the LM Studio, which also run local models, and it makes your work very smooth. So the last tool I have here is the Open Devin, which is very good for building autonomous dev agent. So if you want to build your own custom dev agents that can do specific things for you the way you want it, with your own prompting, with your own rules, with your own data, then you can also leverage this. This is a table that lists the tools and compares them based on their own use cases. If you don't know what tool to use for what, here is a table that basically gives you a summary of that. You can check out Olaman if you want to manage your local model. You can also check out LM Studio, which is a UI-driven local LLMs, basically for front-end engineers. And then you can also check out continue.dev, which is a VS Code AI assistant. So if you're already using VS Code, you can plug this in as an extension. And then we have the Tabi ML, which is a code completion alternative that you can also leverage on. And we have the VLLM, which serves LLMs effectively. So if you want to run your LLM locally, you can also leverage the VLLM implementation. So we have the LangChain as well, which is basically used to build intelligent apps. Yeah, so that's basically all these tools. Now let's take a brief look at setting up an open source AI dev workflow. So far, we've talked about why AI matters and what you can do with it. Now, let's take a deep look into how all of this actually works with the open source AI workflow for developers. And the beauty of it is that you don't need a cloud subscription to get started, like I've been saying. So first, you are going to choose a local model runner. So it can be an Olaman and LM Studio. They are basically great. So you can pick this, and then you can then integrate them with an IDE using tools like continue.dev or Tabi ML. And then from there, you can expand to configure this to match your local model endpoints. And then you can also fine tune this for your own use case. Then you can have a prompt template basically for your stack. If you are making use of Next.js, Vue, or any other stack, or just be it like HTML, CSS. So depending on what you want to use this for, maybe for backend, for front end, you can basically craft this effectively. All of these runs on your machine, so you don't really have to like host it. And then it's even make more sense if you are a solo developer working on a project, so you don't really have to worry about the downtime or the slow or the limit. So you basically own the environment and you can customize it to suit your workflow with prompt template for any of your tasks. So now let's take a look at the performance and caution, because why open source LLMs offer a lot of power and flexibility, it's also important to understand both the performance you can expect and then the cautions you need to keep in mind. So there's a table on the performance side, majority of the models are surprisingly fast and accurate already. So, and especially when you run them locally using optimized tools like VLLM, or like we've mentioned in the previous slide. And for most developer productivity tasks, writing code, writing tests, summarizing or generating docs, they are more than enough, right? So these tools are more than enough, and they are great tools for everyday dev workflow. And there's no vendor locked in. You can basically own this. You can host it whenever you want. It can live on your machine locally. Yeah, so some of the cautions that you should take note is that AI can hallucinate, which means that it can generate wrong or misleading output with confidence. So it might be blind to its own mistake, basically. So that is why you must validate its suggestions. You must always review it. And then, especially when you are working on sensitive logic, and you should remember that if you are using hosted tools or even local logs, you should be concerned and mindful of data privacy. Be mindful of sharing sensitive data input like production, API keys. All this basically your own responsibility of taking care of data privacy. So don't just paste in API keys or internal code bases without understanding the risk. Take some time to learn how this LLM works, like what their code base looks like, what the community is saying about them. So this will help you to better understand how things works as well. So now that we've gone through the performance and caution of these LLMs, now let's take a look at best practices for productive AI usage. Yeah, so before you jump in and wire LLMs into everything, into your code base, because it can definitely be exciting, here I feel a best practice is to get the most out of AI, especially as a software engineer which wants to run things locally. But first, I would recommend that you start with real bottlenecks in your workflow. Don't just use AI just because it is cool. Identify the places, the gap that AI can fill in your workflow. Use it where you are wasting the most time, like maybe every time you want to start a new project, you need to set up some boilerplate or to develop a feature or UI component, you need to do some repetitive work. See if AI can come in or if it is something you can optimize yourself, even without using AI, but then identify where to use AI and where not to. So one of the best practices is to basically remember to prompt thoughtfully, write clear intentional prompt. You are pairing with a machine, so you have to be specific. AI shines when they have the right data. So if they don't have enough data through your prompt, then they might not give you an effective result or output that you expected. You basically get better result when you give better context, when you give good context, examples, clarity, and basically treating your prompting skill. This is going to assist you to make use of this LLM effectively, and also validate everything. So this is very important. Always review the output. AI might be confident and still be wrong, right? You just want to ensure that you are also in the process and not blindly accepting all the changes. So always read and test before trusting the changes. And now don't share sensitive code. Be smart about privacy. We've discussed it earlier as well in the caution. So you want to ensure that you are not sharing sensitive data in the LLMs because it can be exploited at some point. So you just have to basically be careful with the data that you are sharing with it as well. The next one is to basically pick tools that match your stack. And you have to think long term, because the best developers are not just using tools, they are building systems around it. So you want to build a system that works for your stack in a very long time as a Python developer or as a JavaScript developer. So you want to ensure that your usage of AI is not for just short time, but it is for long time use as well. With that, to wrap this up, I will leave you with this quote, which says that AI is your turbocharger and not your brain. This means that AI is not just a cool tool anymore. It's fast becoming essential, which is becoming a foundational part of how than engineers work smarter, ship faster, and write more reliable code. We're already having augmented engineers, right? So if you haven't already started using AI to support every one of these areas in your workflow, even if it's just one, I think now is a perfect time to experiment with all of these open source LLMs. And the more we understand how AI fits into our workflow, the more strategic we can be about boosting our efficiency, not just with tools, but with intentions. So try to spend some time to understand where these LLMs can fit in, especially running it yourself, fine-tuning it for your own use case, and then let AI help you move from idea to output faster. And now my challenge to you is to try just one open source LLM to this week and see how it changes your workflow. Leverage it, think about what it can solve for you, and then see how you can integrate this into your workflow. Okay, and that's it from me. And thank you so much for your time and attention and for staying to the end of this talk. I hope this session sparked a few ideas and gave you something practical to take back into your workflow. I'm happy to chat more after this. Feel free to say hi or connect with me on LinkedIn, on X. You can check out my YouTube or check out my blog and leave me a note as well. Until then, stay curious and keep building smarter. Bye bye for now.